Hey everyone, this is going to be a list review with a twist. Um, I recently got a message on Discord. I am on both the Juggernaut Discord and the Snafu Discord. Um, and I got a message from Crazyoc, and he wrote to me that he wanted me to check out his list, this list review thing that I do. Um, And he had a spin on it that was interesting because he wanted to minimize the cost, the actual monetary cost of the list, at the same time as he wanted something that was solid, competitively solid. That's an interesting one, isn't it? You want something to take to a tournament, you buy it, you want it to work, but you don't want to spend too much money. That's an interesting proposition. Most of the time, I think that could be done just by buying a starter box. But let's see here. Crazyoc didn't actually write to me what he planned to buy for this list, so we'll see what it is and how you can build it. You guys can let me know in the comments how much you think this list would cost. Right, here is the list. It is 997 points, so just enough for one SMG somewhere, which I think you should buy. No reason not to. 14 order dice, right in the Goldilocks zone. It is the 8th army in Sicily. Remember Crazyoc, that it's not all events that allow theater selectors like the 8th army in Sicily. So sometimes you might want to just build a generic platoon or build your army and have a generic platoon and a theater list that you sort of can build from the same models, right? So that you have a little bit of flexibility. That's what I'm looking for. Flexibility is a good thing. Right, let's go through the list. A second lieutenant, regular. You don't need him to be regular. If you can, I can't remember the rules for the 8th Army, but if you can, buy him inexperienced. An inexperienced lieutenant costs 35 points, a regular one 50 points. You're saving 15 points for something else. And that could even be an extra man for your lieutenant, right? So I think they're not worth it. That extra survivability is not that much greater. So that's the first thing I would say. Then regular infantry, nice. Having regular infantry, regular skirmishers with rifles, and just building them from a box, that is so easy to do. 6-man units, very good. You could go 7-man, especially if you save a few points on your lieutenant. Um, and I think that would be even better because having an odd number in your unit makes it so that you need to lose 4 men instead of 3 before you have to take a morale test. A little bit of extra boost there. But 6 men is good, especially if you're running them with the rifle drill special rule, because that means that you get 2 extra shots from the unit. The free artillery observer, of course, bring one of those. And again, we have 2 regular sections of infantry. That is 4 skirmish units. That's pretty good. A Royal Engineer unit with a flamethrower, submachine guns, stubborn, veteran, all that. Tough as boots, Canadians. Yeah, these are good. And they're deadly. And you can take 2, so they are, but they need some sort of transport, right? That's 2 5-man units that need transport. The optimized way to run these would be to bring them in Bren carriers, but that might be a little expensive if we're looking at the money. I think 2 light trucks, 15 CVTs, would be the way to do this. You could have one of them be regular and have your lieutenant with your engineers in that regular one to outflank. And by the way, all of these engineers can be bought and built just from a standard box. You might need to do something about the flamethrower. I personally have scratch built mine. That is also very, very cheap to do, and it's not a problem to do if you have a little bit of green stuff and know a little. Try it out a few times. Um, So these are very, very buildable and easy to do also from just the main box. So the only thing you need to buy now is a medium mortar team here. Medium mortar regular with a spotter. Doesn't need to be regular. The meta is shifting. Previously, everybody brought medium mortars regular with a spotter. Now, a lot of competitive players are moving into buying them inexperienced because they hit with the same amount of strength. And you can still zero in, so it's not worse off in that respect. They're a little less survivable and they have to be in the open at some point. But most of the time, you'll deploy them behind line of sight blocking cover. Once the enemy sniper goes down onto the board, you can see where you can move, and you move away from the sniper, and then start shooting. So you save almost half the points, which is nice. Rapid fire, here goes. The rifle drill rule, which means that he has extra shots from his riflemen. It doesn't actually benefit that much of your army, I'll say. So you might want to consider at some point playing around with these national special rules. Vengeance could also be a thing for a skirmish British army. I'm not saying that it's necessarily the best thing, but you could play around with that as well. Rapid fire is good, but you have a lot of submachine guns that doesn't really benefit from that rapid fire special rule. Then artillery pieces, a QF 6-pounder. Now the model itself is lovely. I have one sitting in my collection. You know how many times I've used it in tournaments? Once, and that was a rookie tournament that I didn't want to win. Anti-tank guns are absolutely not worth it. Buy that light howitzer instead. It has a 25-pounder AT shell, which is a 4+ light anti-tank gun. Almost as good and way more usable because it has both a howitzer and an anti-tank shell, and it costs 55 points instead of 75 points. Cheaper and way more useful. So for me, that is wasted. Don't buy anti-tank guns. A Sherman 5 regular. That's a very expensive tank. It's a 9+ medium anti-tank gun. It's sort of a Death Star unit here, Death Star tank. It can sit in your center and just start trying to pick off enemy armor. And actually, there's even less reason to bring that 6-pounder now because your anti-tank gun on the Sherman is just as good and it's mobile, which is the key. You can move that out and try to hunt the enemy tanks. So in that respect, it's better. Is it the best version of bringing Sherman? No. If you can, I don't think the Brits can take those, but a Sherman with a 105mm howitzer instead actually is way more useful, again, because you can shoot indirectly, and it's also cheaper. But if you want to bring a Death Star howitzer Sherman, this is the way to do it. Universal carriers, 2 of those. They have the LMG, they're regular, that is very, very nice. So that is 3 armored vehicles. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. The way to do this and this does make it, I mean, if you want to spend a little more money, that's what I wanted to say. You should cut this out. You should take away the Sherman, see if you can buy yourself a Stuart or a Humber armored car. The Humber is pretty nice because that will mean that you can buy the Gentleman's War box where you get the Humber armored car and a load of this infantry that you need. So what you really need to buy is the 25-pounders and the mortar and then the universal carriers. That would be most of what you need to buy. So, right. The universal carriers are just very, very good, very, very useful, and getting 2 of them is a thing. You could even at some point get yourself 3. Always build them with the LMGs and both the LMGs. So not like this. This only has a forward-facing LMG because most of the time you're going to sit in that Bren carrier, you're going to move up and then split fire. it doesn't matter that you're not sitting in brain carrier forever shooting, but those 10 points for that split fire is absolutely worth it. So I would actually spend a few extra points and just give them the pintle mounted LMG as well, and then sit a unit of engineers in each of them. Split fire every turn. And because it's tracked, you can sit in a piece of area terrain like a forest or a ruin, just drive in, sit there, shoot out, and if the enemy comes too close, you can always move up, still split firing, and then disembark your engineers and kill them. Your threat range with that universal carrier is 9 inch for the universal carrier, 6 inches for the infantry, so that's 13 inches, and then 6 inches more, which is 19 inches. So that is a lot of range. No, sorry, 9 inches, 15 inches, 21 inches of range. That's a lot of range you have as a threat range, where the enemy doesn't want to come within 21 inches of you. You can just sit there and shoot and wait to see if he comes closer. Always remember to measure, because when you're measuring your shots, you can sort of see where are the 21 inches. At what point in the battlefield does he come too close? And then you pounce. Right. Crazyoc, thank you so much for the list, and I will see you all in the next video. Cheers.